Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Janavallabha Girivardhari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Asuranandana Braja Janaranjana Suranandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Niranaja Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari Gopidana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Yasuranandana Braja Janaranjana Yasuranandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Srimadbhagavatam ki Sri Radha Giridhari ki Sri Radha Madhava ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivrajika Jaja Shodhara Sri Maharaj Divine Grace Abhay Charanara Vinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivrajika Jaja Shodhara Sri Maharaj Divine Grace Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai, srimadbhagavatam ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories, cease and Guru and Sri. So this morning, we are hearing from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, Chapter 6, Verse 45. What's this chapter entitled? Lord Vama satisfies the Shiva. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Janti. Tvam karmanam mangala mangalanam kartu swalokam tunashe sukhamba amangalanam chatamishambulbana viparya kena tadeva kaschit Tvam karmana mangala mangalanam kartu swalokam tanushe swaparamba mangalanam chatamishramulbanam viparya kena tadeva kasyachit Tvam karmana mangala mangalanam kartu salokam tanushe swaparamba mangalanam chatamishramulbanam viparya kena tadeva kasyachit. Amangalanam chanamisha ulvanam kasyachit Tvam karmana mangala mangalanam kartu swalokam tanushe swaparamba Amangalam chatamishramulvanam viparya kena tadeva kasyachit. Anyone else? Tam karmanam mangalam mangalanam kartu swalokam tanushe swaparamba Mangalanam chatamisham urbanam viparya kena tadeva kasyachit. Mangalam mangalam mangalanam Atun sulokam parushri swapnam vaha. Amangalanam chadamisha urvanam. Vipariya kena tadeva kasyachit. Word for word. Tvam, your lordship. Karmanam, of the prescribed duties. Mangala, O most auspicious. Mangalanam, of the auspicious. Kartuhu, of the performer. Swalokam, respective higher planetary systems. Tunushe, expand. Swaha, heavenly planets. Param, transcendental world. Va, or Amangalanam, of the inauspicious. Cha, and Tamishram, the name of a particular hell. Ulbanam, ghastly. Vipariyaha, the opposite. Kena, why? Tadeva, certainly that. Kaschit, for someone. Translation and purport. O most auspicious Lord, you have ordained the heavenly planets, the spiritual Vaikuntha planets, and the impersonal Brahman sphere as the respective destinations of the performers of auspicious activities. So where are the three places you can land up if you perform auspicious activities? Brahman effulgence. Okay. Just seeing if you have long or short-term memory. Or like really short-term memory. Similarly, for others who are miscreants, you have destined different kinds of hells which are horrible and ghastly. Yet sometimes it is found that their destinations are just the opposite. It is very difficult to ascertain the cause of this. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is called the Supreme Will. It is by the Supreme Will that everything is happening. It is said, therefore, that not a blade of grass moves without the Supreme Will. Generally, it is prescribed that performers of pious activities are promoted to the higher planetary systems, devotees are promoted to the Vaikunthas, or spiritual worlds, and impersonal speculators are promoted to the impersonal Brahman effulgence, but it sometimes so happens that a miscreant like Ajamil is immediately promoted to Vaikuntha Loka simply by chanting the name of Narayan. Although when Ajamil uttered this vibration, he intended to call his son Narayan, Lord Narayan took it seriously and immediately gave him promotion to Vaikuntha Loka. Despite his background, which was full of sinful activities, similarly, King Daksha was always engaged in the pious activities of performing sacrifices, yet, simply because of creating a little misunderstanding with Lord Shiva, he was severely taken to task. How severe was he taken to task? What happened to him? Got his head cut off and declared by a goat. That's horrible, isn't it? That's ghastly. Can you imagine if tomorrow morning Janardhan showed up with the head of a goat? He just didn't skip a beat, just saying Janardhan, but he had the head of a goat. So what happened, Prabhu? What happened? Nothing personal. Or any of us, me. If I showed up tomorrow with the head of a serpent, something like that. Said, finally, they got the right head for that guy. Finally, they picked the right head. Huh? Okay, let's see. Similarly, King Daksha was always engaged in the pious activities of performing sacrifices, yet simply because of creating a little misunderstanding with Lord Shiva, he was severely taken to task. The conclusion is therefore that the ultimate will is the ultimate judgment. No one can argue upon this. A pure devotee therefore submits in all circumstances to the supreme will of the Lord, accepting it as all auspicious. An important verse here. Tenukampam susukshamano bunjane vadmakritam vibhakam hridvag vapuvedritam namaste jivateyo muktipade sadhaya bhak. You know what canto that's from? 10th canto, 14th chapter, 8th verse. The purport of this verse is that when a devotee is in a calamitous condition, he takes it as a benediction of the Supreme Lord and takes responsibility responsibility himself for his past misdeeds. In such a condition, he offers still more devotional service and is not disturbed. One who lives in such a disposition of mind, engaged in devotional service, is the most eligible candidate for promotion to the spiritual world. In other words, such a devotee's claim for promotion to the spiritual world is assured in all circumstances. That's what that Daya Bhak means. Inheritance of the spiritual world. Om Agyan Timarandasya Gyanandana Salakaya Chaksulun Minitam Dina Taismai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nitananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchadabhadri Vaishna Kri Prashindu Vichapadidanam Bhavani Vaishna Namaha. Every permission is try to say a few words. So let's read the translation again. O most auspicious Lord, you have ordained the heavenly planets, the spiritual Vaikuntha planets, and the impersonal Brahman sphere as the respective destinations of the performers of auspicious activities. Similarly, for others who are miscreants, you have destined different kinds of hells, which are horrible and ghastly, yet sometimes it is found that their destinations are just the opposite. It is very difficult to ascertain the cause of this. So in other words, there's a system already set up by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which you could say 99.9% it's going on that way. Like it's described here. Generally, it's prescribed performers of pious acts. What was that? Urdvam, Gachani, Satvasta, Madhya Tishtanti Rajasa, Jaganya Guni Vrittista, Ado Gachanti. You know that verse? Those in the mode of goodness, they go up. Those in the mode of passion, you're going to be here for a while in SanDiego. Those in the mode of ignorance, Ado, they go down like that. So that's generally what happens. In other words, we have a particular type of consciousness, so we have to fit into a certain neighborhood. Say you're in SanDiego, you can go through different neighborhoods, and generally speaking, it's a symptom of a certain type of consciousness. That's just life, right? If you are well-to-do, I mean, basically it's economic. Previously, when they planned Vedic cities, there'd be a whole neighborhood of Brahmins. It didn't matter if you were a rich Brahmin or a poor Brahmin. If you were a Brahmin, that's where you lived. That was your culture was the deciding factor of your position in life. And then you had the area of Kshatriyas, and you had the area of Vaishyas, business district, and then where they lived, and then you had the Sudras. And generally speaking, they didn't mix very much. They didn't want to mix, right? You don't want to mix. And they don't want you to mix with them. You know, there's I remember, I think it was one of these books, maybe it was The Millionaire Next Door. It came out many, many years ago. I read that book. One of these books is making the point that you level off. This is just a general principle of psychology. You level off with the 3 or 4 people you associate the most with. You want to spend more time with Dravida? Okay? That's life. You will level off with the people you spend, 3 or 4 people you spend most of your time with. You become like them. That's who you become like. You know, that's about who you become like. And that's why wealthy people only associate with wealthy people, and this was in reference to that. And they stay away from poor people or low achievers. You know, high achievers always look for high achievers. That's because you're gonna become like those who you associate with, right? That's just the way it is. That's the way it is. Therefore, we have our injunctions also. We're doing every Monday a nectar of instruction, like that. So it's in there. Associate with saintly persons. One of the symptoms of success and avoiding, cause of fall down is associating with jana sangha. We just become like the people we associate with. So those are very, very careful or very conscientious about where they want to land up in life, what they want to be like, They search out that association. That's, well, sort of. Yeah. But you can find out that association. But the point is who you want to emulate, and it's who you associate with, especially on the internet. I mean, the internet's there, but to have personal association with someone. Otherwise, why come to class? You can all just go up, get your device, and wherever you are around the temple, just kind of check in on Mayapur TV. Is that where it's happening right now? One or two places. So why even come? Like that. It's probably happening right now, as I speak. But it's very important. Association, because that's who you level off with. So we're talking about neighborhoods. In SanDiego, these days, is economic. You have poor neighborhoods, you have wealthier middle class, this and that, and those kind of people. That's because of your qualification. That's how you land up. Just like I moved to La Mesa a few years ago. Why is that? Why didn't I go to Pacific Beach or La Jolla or even Claremont? Couldn't afford it. Prices just like double and triple. You can't afford it. Don't have the money. So I'm in that particular neighborhood. So that's how it is. So it's described here. We're all in a particular, you could say, neighborhood based on our consciousness. It's like we're all here in the temple because of a certain type of consciousness. Not everyone can come in here. Just like there was a gentleman last night who came in who shouldn't have been here at all, I heard. Like that. And then Sunday, Dainidi was saying some Prabhu disciple, someone came in, he used to be here a long time ago, drunk. And he was talking to Maharaj, then he went to the store, drunk as a skunk. They say, I don't know why they say drunk as a skunk, maybe there's rhymes or something. If Maharaj is here, look it up, fact check or something. There's an expression, you can look it up if you want. You want to look that up? Drunk as a skunk, where it come from? But anyways, and he was in the store complaining about how they changed Prabhupada's books. Now, he's drunk as a skunk on Radhastami or whatever in the temple, and he's complaining about how they, they edited Prabhupada's books. So the point is, not everyone can stay here. Not everyone can be here. Not everyone can appreciate the ashram. Just like we don't really appreciate other places either. We don't fit in. So what's described here, those who are pious, they go different places. Those who are very, very pious, you expect them to be with other pious people. They're very pious, they go to Swargaloka, Urdvam, right? Sattva. They go upwards. And those in the mode of passion, they stay here. Or actually it says devotees, probably in the purport. Devotees, where do they go? They go with other devotees. They go back to the spiritual world. Pure devotees have no reason to be here. Maybe to preach, but for the most part in the spiritual world. Those who are cultivating the impersonal Brahman, what happens to them? They merge into the impersonal Brahman. And then you have those, of course you have those in between, and then the destination for those, Prabhupada says, are miscreants. Right? The miscreants, they go down. They go down to the lower species. They go down to hellish regions. Prabhupada says here, how does he describe the hellish planets? What are the two words? Ghastly and horrible. That's where you land up. Because it's a reflection of ghastly and horrible consciousness. That's what it is. What does it say? As within, then without, or something? There's some saying like that. Our external environment is a mirror of our internal environment. Isn't that amazing? Generally speaking, that's what it is. Our external environment is a mirror of what's going on inside. Just like I always, not always, from time to time, use this example. Prabhupada said that a Brahmin cannot tolerate a place that's unclean. Can't tolerate it. Just cannot tolerate it. So what does that mean? A real Brahmin, you look at it, oh, a very clean place really is. Oh, very, very clean. One small example, Prabhupada was at Kumbh Mela. You know the story? Kumbh Mela. And there was a sadhu, with beard and everything, and saffron, walking by. And Prabhupada noticed he was carrying something. You know the story? What he was carrying? He was carrying a lota, brass or copper, that was shiny as can be. And Prabhupada just noted to the devotees that, just see that. That's indicative of everything else in his life. It's very nice. keeps his lotus very shiny. That must mean everything else is shiny. If he takes that little thing, so that little thing, you can tell. Okay. So as what's going on, you can tell. Or the other way around is you can tell what's going on inside by looking at a person's environment. Okay. What's going on? There's no mystery there. But the emphasis of this verse is that's the general what we would expect to be happening. But all of a sudden, Krishna changes all of that, and that's why there's a supreme will. Ultimately, there's a supreme will, and things may not go as we think they're supposed to go, in general and in particular in our own lives, and that's what's being brought forward here. Now, the two examples given are Jamil and Daksha. Now, Jamil, on one hand, was very, very sinful. He started out as a pious Brahmin, but he fell from that position. And due to very bad association with circumstances, he took up a life of crime. He was a Brahmin, then he took up a life of crime. Yeah. And apparently even killing people. And his older sons, were helping him. Yeah. Prabhupada said one of the tricks was this. Prabhupada told him one class. It's like you may have heard of this. So you're walking down the road and someone goes, hey, I lost my watch. It was an expensive. What's more expensive than a Rolex? I don't know. I lost it. Oh, it's like gems on. I lost this watch. It's like worth like $10,000. It's one of those Rolexes with little jewels stowed. Oh my God! And he walks away. Some other guy comes up and says, psst, psst, I got this watch. It's a Rolex. I'll sell it to you for just $500. It's worth $10,000. Yeah. So he worked in tandem. It obviously wasn't a watch. It was something, a jewel or something like that. But that's two thieves. That's one of his Jamil's tricks, Prabhupada said. That's what they used to do. So anyways, cheating, lying, you name it, all kinds of things like that, leading a very degraded life. And that's why when he was passing away, the Yamadutas showed up, and they were stopped by the Vishnudutas, and they could not understand for the life of them what's going on here. This person has got... he's got an eviction notice and a list like you haven't seen before, a rap sheet, like anything. Now and they were completely bewildered, but they had to back down. Why? You see that expression the other day, didn't you, Pagari? Back down? Someone said back down, back down. Stand down. That was it. Stand down, military. Stand down. Stand down. Why? Because the Vishnudutas were there, and they're very, very effulgent, powerful personalities, there's no question. They just look at you and, okay. They have the power of the Lord. The power of the Lord. And like that. Yamaraj is a very powerful personality, but he's a servant of Krishna. And so they just backed off. And they had to go, and there's a whole conversation there. In the Bhagavatam, they're speaking to Yamaraj. He said, what happened? I thought you were, it was a no-brainer. This guy wasn't, he had it coming. And then all of a sudden, he saved. Can you please explain to us? It seems to be adharma. Yeah. What's going on here? Everything was all lined up, ready to go. It looked like a closed, shut case. Open and shut case. Boom, like that. Sometimes people go into court. The judge takes one look at the guy, looks at what happened. It's over. Don't even bother. Like that. So, but it's the supreme will. Because of his chanting in helplessness, the name of Narayan, Lord Narayan, immediately just says here, took it seriously and immediately gave him promotion to Vaikuntha Loka. Of course, he was saved and given a second chance. Isn't that the name of that book? Second chance? Yeah, second chance. He went back to the ashram and he finished his Krishna consciousness and went back to Godhead. So, and then on the other hand, we have King Daksha, who was the leader of those demigods engaged in pious activities and yagyas. There's a little description earlier, this yagya, that yagya, pleasing all the demigods and the Supreme Lord, and all these offerings and so on. But somehow or other, due to his discrepancy, he lands up in a very horrible position. Like that. Very horrible position. Everything's taken away and he gets his head cut, and loses his head. And so why is that? So there are situations where things don't go how we think they're supposed to go, And I guess we can bring it back into that meditation, that there are times when circumstances don't go how we think they're going to go, and therefore the advice is given in this verse in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, that tate nukampam susukshamano bunjayevatma kritam vipakam, that what is the meditation, what is the focus, how should a devotee think in this world? That's what this verse is all about. How do you think? What's the proper way to think in this material world? So it's saying here that one who's a devotee, in their mind, they're always expecting the mercy of the Lord, the kindness of the Lord. So that's one thing. They have that kind of faith that, if I'm properly engaged, Krishna will show his mercy. It's not that I've been taken off the list or something. I won't get it. It will come to any sincere devotee, doesn't matter what stage of Krishna consciousness we're in. If one is sincere, we can always expect the mercy of the Lord. And this evadma kritam vipakam, well, things aren't going right. You ever experienced that? So we all associate with Dravida and learn how that is possible. Every moment, practically speaking, something's going wrong. That's just the material nature. If you don't think so, just wait. Like they're saying in New England, if you don't like the weather, just wait. Just wait a day. It changes all the time. So, just wait. Because there's the, what is that? Threefold miseries. At any moment, I was listening to a tape yesterday, Prabhu was saying, talking about a fly. There was a tape in India. So there probably was a fly flying around the Vyasa-san. Saying the fly comes, it bothers you. Then you shoo it out the door, and more flies come in when you open the door to shoo it out. So just a simple thing, flies and bugging you and this and that, and other people, and envious people, and we have adhyatmak, adhibodhik, adhidaivik, right? So at every moment, right? You get a little itch on your chin, you scratch it, maybe you're not comfortable, you're thinking your stomach's growling, you're hungry, wondering what's for breakfast. Other living entities, you're concerned that Balaram or Damodar Kumar is going to give you too much service today. Other living entities give you a hard time. All kinds of, and then maybe it's too hot, too cold. Of course, SanDiego is pretty good here. Pretty most of the time, the weather's not usually too hot or too cold. But the others, you've got an earthquake. Right? They're saying the big one's coming. Every few months, they got to put an article in it about the big one. Right? The big one. You know what the big one is? Big earthquake. It's going to come. So you better be Krishna conscious. So there's always something. And then what to do about that? It says here, Evad Mikritam Vipa. It's my fault. I'm not going to blame anyone else. I'm not going to blame Krishna. Krishna, why don't... It's like Prabhu Das would say. You know Prabhu Das? Dr. Nick, Prabhu Das. Say, why doesn't Krishna throw me a bone? This is from South Philly. Why doesn't Krishna throw me a bone? You know what that means? Like a dog. Throw me a bone. So why did Krishna throw me a bone? Like, help me out. So many difficulties and sufferings and this and that. Why does Krishna throw me a bone? Okay. Just wondering when I'm going to get some help. But don't blame Krishna. Hridvag vapuvir. So within one's heart, with one's word, one's always glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Namaste. Such a jiva, such a living entity, mukti pade sadaya bhak. He's in the chute. He's ready to go for liberation. Prabhupada says here, he's assured of the spiritual world, that destination, for someone who has this type of mentality. It's beautiful, this last paragraph here, that when a devotee is in a calamitous condition, he takes it as a benediction. Now, who takes calamitous conditions as benedictions? Either advanced devotees or nutcases, right? So, a calamitous condition as a benediction, you're usually thinking of everything's very, very smooth. Oh, Krishna's mercy. Right? Krishna's mercy. Krishna's very, very kind. Everything's going okay today. Krishna's mercy. But how about if everything goes wrong? Everything goes wrong. Krishna's mercy, do you think like that? But that's saying that's how we're supposed to think. And it's interesting, Prabhupada says here, in such a condition, he offers still more devotional service. So the devotional service goes up. It doesn't go like this. Well, Krishna, if you want to treat me like that, I'm just going to back off a little bit. Stand down. just going to that's the way you're going to treat me? I'm going to think about this. Then you get more misery. So Prabhupada says here, in such a condition, one still offers still more devotional service and is not disturbed. So it's quite a tall order here for what it means to be Krishna conscious. But Prabhupada says, one who lives in such a disposition of mind, engaged in devotional service, is the most eligible candidate for promotion to the spiritual world. So that's transcendental consciousness. So it's a verse to memorize and live by. Very, very beautiful. The overall point is that the supreme will, Prabhupada begins the Prabhupada by talking about the supreme will. Everything is happening by the supreme will. Not a blade of grass moves without the supreme will. That's the ultimate deciding factor, Krishna's supreme will. And devotees are always dependent upon that will and always conscientious that Krishna's there and he's moving everything. And sometimes things just don't make sense. It's like here, it doesn't make sense. Someone is supposed to go to hell, goes to heaven. Someone is supposed to go to heaven, goes to hell. What happened? Krishna is moving everything accordingly. Krishna is very kind. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very, very kind. It's like many times we've discussed, and Prabhupada saying how we don't deserve to go back home, back to Godhead. And Prabhupada once said, "Don't worry, I have the key to the back door." So the pure devotee, the representative of Namo Mahabharanaya, the most merciful incarnation, things can change. Based if one is sincerely practicing and following, things can be changed, adjusted by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because in Kali Yuga, we shouldn't take advantage, but in Kali Yuga, such mercy is absolutely required, because there's no qualification. There's no qualification. What's the qualification? No qualification. The only qualification is becoming attached to the lotus feet of the devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's the only qualification. Hang on. And just like grab someone devotee, hang on. And they just go where they go. And that's the only qualification. Don't let go. Prabhupada says over and over again. Don't leave, don't let go, don't jump overboard. Like that expression, bloop, where that comes from? Yeah, the sound. You ever throw a rock in the water with the sound makes? Bloop. Because don't jump off the boat. Stay on the boat. Hang on tight. That's our only qualification in the age of Kali. Hang on tight and sincerely engage in devotional service. So it's a very ecstatic verse here. Any questions or comments? Everything perfect and complete. About drunk as a skunk?
Drunk as a skunk has an interesting etymology. Hare Krishna. Really? Okay. Oh, okay, I get it. So, quickly, as drunk as a skunk. So, the way it was explained that it rhymes. That's the first things. And skunks are kind of stinky. So that's one of the things. But another interesting aspect is that skunks eat, one of the things they eat a lot of stuff, but one of the things they eat is fruit that falls down from the trees. And they eat this fruit, and the fruit ferments, or they eat fermented fruit, and they actually become intoxicated. Who are the actual skunks? So that's enough for drunk and a skunk.
Don't get near a drunk skunk because he can go off on you.
Exactly.
Can control their bodily functions.
So now the thing one thing I wanted to mention was this. Twice here mentions how a Jamil, because it is that a miscreant like a Jamil is immediately promoted to Vaikuntha simply by chanting the holy name of Narayan once. You chanted it once, you know. Although I looked up the pastime, and he was chanting more. You know, whenever he called his son, he was chanting him, because this was the argument of the Vishnu Dutas, that he became purified just because he's calling his son before death, Narayan, and as also eradicating all the sins. But one thing I wanted to mention here, this is my point is how to read Prabhupada's books without getting confused. Because one of the things is, if you read the pastime in the 6th canto, you'll find that, well, not immediately. He had to go to the Himalayas, and he practiced longer, and then finally, when he was purified, the Vishnu just came and took him back home. So, there's several ways of reading this. One, the way that I understand it is that in the larger scheme of things, when you take in his whole life and lives, it's practically like that. Just like Prabhu would talk about us, you chant Hare Krishna and you're sure to going back to guided, And, well, everyone thinks, okay, I'm going to chant and go back to guided. Well, it may take a couple of lives, but what's that compared to the billions of lives and billions of lifetimes of Brahma that we've been in the material world? So it's virtually immediately. So that's how I read this. Immediately means in a very short time, without getting, actually, there's a contradiction there.
Better edit it.
Yeah, and this is the kind of thing we won't change. No question of change. So I thought I'd call attention to that. Hare Krishna.
Anything else? Srila Prabhupada. I have a question.